Yo, what up, YouTube? Thanks for stopping by my page. I really appreciate that. That means a lot to me. So in return, what I want to do is create some valuable content to enhance your lifestyle and hopefully help you on your journey to becoming a successful option trader. I go by the name Bear the Business. I've been doing this for a little while, and I want to help you dodge some of the obstacles that I had to go through, some of the pain that I had to go through in losing money. There's a lot of things that I might be able to explain in a more simple way than some of the other videos that you've seen. So I appreciate you stopping by the page. Subscribe to the vibe, give it a like, leave me a comment if you don't understand something, or let's talk about it. It's an open page. Today in this video, what we'll be talking about is support lines, resistant lines, and trend lines. We're going to use Apple as the company. So what I'm going to do is erase all of this, clear that whole thing, and we're going to start from scratch. This is probably how your platform will look. This is a Thinkorswim platform. That's what it's called. But you have to open up a TD Ameritrade account in order to get access to the Thinkorswim app. So yours will probably look plain like this. The volume might look a little different. So I just want to show you how support, resistance, and trend lines work. So what is a support line? Okay, this is Apple chart. Each candlestick equals 1 week. This is a 3-year chart. It went back 3 years, and each candlestick is 1 week. So this is 5 days, a full week. Very bullish week. Bullish meaning it went up pretty good. This is 5 days. This is 1 week. This red candlestick. Bearish. Bearish meaning it was going down. Okay, so you get the picture. 5 days. Each one is a week. So in order to find support, you want to find out where the market, the stock Apple, it went down and bounced back up. Went down, bounced back up, down, bounced back up, down. The support you want to look for is the support that when it hit it, it bottomed, it made another high. It went higher than the last biggest candlestick. So when it hit this support, this 138.36 area, this is my prices over here. You can see the prices to your right there, 132.65. So when I'm calling out a price, that's where you see it at on that side. So it hit this major support right here, right? So what I would do, go down here, click on this, click on the trend line. Now draw me a trend line down here. How I drew that trend line, you get that tool, you right click. When you right click it, it highlights blue. You drag it out slightly so it'll stay straight. Then you right click again. That's how you do that. But if you right click and you make a mistake and it goes like this, like that, just slowly bring your mouse down, try to center it. Boom. Put it on all zeros, you're good. Right click. I'm sorry, left click. I've been meaning to say left click, not right click. Left click, drag a little bit, left click again. But in order for you to get the lines on both sides, you have to right click on it. After you draw it, hit edit. Make sure the left extension is on. Make sure the right extension is on. Okay? So now, after we found out that it's a major support in that range right there, that zone right there, we see that it's major support. We want to look back at the history, and you see that it was resistance at one point. It had big trouble getting through that line. So this is a major support and resistance line. Okay, so right now we're calling it support because Apple is above it. So you might be saying, man, do we have to wait till the stock comes all the way back down to 130 something in order to make a good buy? Nope, you don't, because it's more support. If you look here, right there, it went down, came back up, went down, came back up, and it sold from this area. here, there, all these, and right there. You got more support. Okay, so let's draw us a trend line. Let's draw us a support line in this range where it was either getting blocked right there. It went up and went back down. There was resistance. Got blocked again right in here, but it held support. Went back up, held support in that range again. Went back up, came back down, boom. Bounced off it again, went back up, came back down, boom. Bounced off it, bounced off. You get the picture. That's support. So now we draw us a line. Major support right there. Okay. So now let's find one more major support that's closer. Major support that's closer to the price. The price is 171.52 today. So I want to find out where Apple was going up and coming back down, or either bouncing off of. So we got one right here. We got one right here. We got this area right here. And we got right in here. This whole area. Okay. So we got some good support resistance right there. So what I'll do is draw another line. That's some more good support. Check it out. Now these are supports right now. Okay. These are major supports. Each candlestick is a week. So if Apple was this strong, Apple's been strong for weeks and weeks. So now let's draw some resistance lines. Resistant lines are the exact opposite of support. It's where the stock sells, where the stock has had enough. They feel like the price is too high, so they start selling. I'm going to draw a line, my resistance line, because you see it hit this, sold off, hit this, sold off, sold off, sold off, went back down, sold off. So this area right here, this is a major resistance. And we're going to turn that one red. That's major resistance. Okay. It actually hit it this week. Hit it again. Hit major resistance. So you see how it falls when it hits that major resistance. Look how big the falls are. 1, 2, 3. Apple fell for 3 weeks after hitting it one time, and they got back up to it again. It fell for 1, 2, 3, 4. Pretty much 5, 6, 7. Fell for 7 weeks after hitting it another time. So what do you think it's gonna do this time? Do you think it's gonna fall from hitting this resistance? It's a big chance that it's gonna come down, but you also have to understand the price action. Look at this price action. Look at this sell in comparison to this sell and these sales. It didn't sell much. It held support right here. Okay, so we're gonna draw a support line right here at 171.50. It held up, but if it starts to break through this support, we're looking at Apple coming down to this support. So if you bought in around this area at 171.50 and held it till it got down here to 166, you just made you some hundreds if you got one contract. But in order to understand contracts, I got a video on the option chain, how to place the trades, what all of it mean. So check out that option chain video, understanding the option chain, how to purchase option contracts. Okay, so let's draw this resistance line right here. That's big resistance. All right, so support and resistance is pretty much common sense, self-explanatory. Some people call it supply and demand. Demand meaning this is where the stock is in demand. This is where people want it. They want to buy it, and it goes up. Supply means this is where it's too much. We got too much of it. We got too much supply. We got to sell. We got to get rid of the supply. So some people call it supply and demand, which is support, same as support and resistance. Let's talk about trend lines. So how to draw a trend line? Like, I normally draw more than one trend line on different timelines because different timelines hold different weight. Like, this is a yearly chart, shows 1 day. Each one of these candlesticks are 1 day. So this holds a lot of weight, but it shows more. It shows more information than a weekly show. It breaks that week down into days. And then I also use the 12-hour chart, which each candlestick equals 12 hours. So it breaks that day down into 12 hours each. And I use the 4-hour chart. It shows more information than the 12. But it also shows strength. It shows a lot of strength. If a stock has been moving like this for 4 hours, this big green candlestick, 9 times out of 10, it's trying to make its way up. It's trying to head up. So you have to learn how to read it, especially if it came off of major support. We already marked it. Came off of major support and it took off. So if you would have held this stock for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days, 6, 7 week, or whatever, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, come on, man. Look at that run. See how it moved? But you got to understand supply and demand, support, resistance. Let's talk about trend lines. Trend line is exactly what the name calls it. It's just a line that represents the trend of the stock. The stock is going up. So let me show you 5083. What you do, we're going to find 5083 on this side over here. We're going to see it. Let's see. We're going to get close as we can to 5083. Boom, we hit it, okay. All right, so now we want to try to touch where the stock bottom and went back up. So like I said, I typically draw 2 to 3 trend lines because I like to be aware of each zone. The stock trades in zones. Okay, so we're gonna draw that trend line right there, and I will be mindful that if the stock starts to come down in this area, I will be mindful that it sometimes breaks through this trend line like it did here. It breaks through this trend line and then recovers. So I will be looking for it to come here, here, or even here, and then recover pretty hard and get back on trend, or either test this trend line, come back and hit it. So, but anyway, let's draw the other trend line. This is a positive sloping trend line. And let's draw another positive sloping because I see some more support. So we go to the low, 5083. Let's find that again. Boom. Left click, and then we touch the bottoms. 1, 2, 3. So we're gonna bring it down just a little bit. We're gonna let it ride around right here. Boom. And then what it's revealing, Apple just hit that trend line last week and it got rejected, but it held up over this support, this major support. It's holding up. So if it opens up tomorrow on Monday, if it opens up under here, it's likely coming down to 165.66 in that range. We're gonna see how the market move. Okay, so that's why I like to draw multiple trend lines, because it tells multiple stories. So this one 182, 84, that's cool. So if we were to draw that trend line off of those two tops, it would tell you that Apple just ran into some major resistance. Apple just ran into some major resistance last week. All right, so look at that chart. This is how you navigate the market. You got to draw a map. You got to draw a map for the market. So what the map is telling me, that Apple is in some major resistance range. This is actually a major resistance zone right here. I'll even draw that. So that's how you take your positions. You have to draw the map out. So right now, if Apple starts to break through here, I will probably be looking for puts to catch that ride down to this support, the 165 or 166 range. But we're gonna see to trade it down, and if it cuts through here, that's bonus time. But this is good profit on this fall. That's a couple $100. If you get 2 contracts, you double that, double whatever you make. 2 contracts might cost you $350 for a trade like this. So if you make $300 for one, you don't make $600. So But I'll be talking about the option chain in a different video. You might see the link here somewhere. You might see it in this video, or just go to my page. Go through the playlist, find the option video, understanding options, understanding the option chain. So, and that's how you know how to choose your options wisely with the least risk as possible. Yeah, I'm highly calculated. I like to be highly calculated when I'm taking risks. So then we got another thing I look for as I'm doing my support and my resistance lines. I look for gaps. Apple's looking real gappy. This is a gap, which means it ran up and it closed right here, but it opened up higher, which created a gap. So when a stock doesn't have any price action, which is a gap, it didn't have any price action in this range. It closed right here, and overnight, the morning session before the market opened, the stock ended up here. So it created a gap, just like it did here. You might see gaps down, such as this. It might gap down sometime. It closed right here, and then it opened up in this range, which created a gap. Gaps tend to get filled. So when I find a gap, what I do is make sure I draw a dotted line, which represents it lets me know that there's a gap there. We got a gap fill from this price, the low of this price action to the high of this price action. That candlestick. These are daily candlesticks. I didn't see this on a weekly chart, so that's the main purpose of doing your analysis. When you're doing your analysis, you start on the high time frame, so you can get some solid supports and resistance. You want a higher time frame. These weekly candlesticks are worth more than, they weigh more than these daily candlesticks, but the daily candlestick shows more information, so you have to look on this time frame as well, right? The time frames, you have to look at multiple time frames because they show different stories. They tell you different stories. Gotta draw this one right here. Yeah, so I'll be looking to play puts on Apple tomorrow. I'll be looking for puts on Apple tomorrow. Today is August 21st. Today is August 21st, so Monday the 22nd. Yeah, we're looking for puts on Apple. What I'm assuming is going to happen is going to bounce off this major support, or if it opens up here, it's probably going to come straight down and bounce off this gap area, and then come here. If it can't break back over this trend line, it's probably going to come on down some more, fill this gap. I would feel very comfortable buying calls from this gap fill, this area, because when gaps get filled, it's like, okay, so now the stock has repaired the gaps. They call it repairing. The stock got some repairing to do. So if it still got repairing to do, that means it got to fall some more, right? So when this gap's below, I'm kind of skeptical on holding calls. Calls meaning thinking the stock is going to go up, because stock market can get crazy. I mean, it can just boom, it can just drop. If Apple gets some news, which tends to happen when it's around, it's so ironic how news tends to happen around the technical areas. You know what I'm saying? Like where it normally sell at, oh, they get some bad news and then it fall. But you just got to be mindful of trend lines, resistance, and support. This was a brief video. If something was confusing to you, drop it in the comments. Subscribe to the vibe, like, share. If I can break it down a little bit more for you, let me know, and we're gonna rock out like that. I appreciate y'all for stopping by. Bear the business. What you working on?